alongside a man loving his wife. It's just a man loving his wife. What would you say to that?
You know, when the Bible says we're not to treat our wives harshly, there's a reason for that. Shall we go into it? I don't think people here kind of understand really what I'm trying
to go into it.
Okay, there we go. So at times it's hard to love a woman because of the harshness that might come out of her mouth towards a man, which is why we talk about tame the tongue, which is why God talks about a woman respecting a man. The mandate to the man was for a man to love a woman like Jesus loved the church, and there's a reason for that. So when we submit to that understanding, that means we're not going to treat her, or we ought not to treat her like a man. We ought to treat her like she's part of our own body. That's what the word says. So that's why it talks about loving ourselves. Because if we love ourselves, we're going to love the person who we see as our rib, or the original translation, who comes from our side. So to me, this topic is about submitting to that understanding. Again, it's not about who is, okay, this aspect is not about who is boss and etc. We talked about it already, and we can continue talking about that. But this aspect is about, in order to love my wife properly, who do I need to be? I can't be someone who is authoritative. I can't be someone who is not a protector. I can't be someone who is not a provider. Whatever degree you can do that. I can't be someone who doesn't give her stability, because she is not going to feel love from me. So it's submitting to that understanding. That's how I see it.
Do you know what? It's mad, you know, because what you just said there is really key. Like you said, obviously being gentle with your wife. I think this is the reason why I say that choosing a wife is probably the first most important thing you can do, because you've got a limit. You've got a limit on how gentle your gentleness will last. But not only just that, also as well, whether gentleness will actually work. Because that person, you know, will they outrun your patience? Will they outrun your endurance? Will they outrun your care? Will they outrun, you know, you're not quick to anger? So choosing the right partner is quintessential in the beginning, because it gives that grace period for that person. Whereas when we have chosen someone that is not for us, you know, you do begin to question, at what point do I change my format now? Because gentle is not working, patience is not working, endurance is not working, you know, talking love is not working. You know what I mean? Like, so choosing the right person as a man or as a husband, to be, is very important, because, like you said, the call for man is that he's to love his wife and be gentle to her. In fact, the Bible says, "Dwell with women according to knowledge." As well, and it says it's better to live in a corner of the roof than to live with a contentious woman. So, you know, there are wisdom and pearls that are given by the word in terms of loving that woman, but also as well in terms of even being careful who you marry, because this makes your job that much harder to do from the man's perspective in this regard. You know,
I agree. Hold on, I'm just gonna answer some comments. So the book is called Disciplines of a Godly Man, for those who are asking. And someone asks, if a woman's a Christian, isn't she supposed to love her man as Jesus Christ is? The answer is yes, but we're specifically talking about marital structure in terms of what the Bible says. We're all supposed to love each other like you know, like Christ does. Like we say that we love Christ, we're all supposed to do that. But there's a key understanding that when you get into this level of relationship, right, because we're talking about marriage, there's a different level of understanding that comes with it. And a lot of men will say, my wife loves me. Yeah, she does. I can't question that. But when asked, does she respect me? That's when the questions start. Okay, maybe not, maybe not, maybe not. So as a man, because what Coach is talking about now is, okay, we can be patient to a default, because as men, some men are harsh, but a lot of men are soft at heart, right? Not that we enjoy being soft, but we understand too, we have to be a certain level of soft in order to connect to our woman, because we have to speak to her emotions. One thing I said to my missus, that the tagline is, we need to be able to kiss your hearts. That she needs to be able to melt. That's not going to happen if as a man you're just harsh all the time. So when we talk about the word submission, it's understanding, what do I need to do to make my wife happy? And don't get me wrong, the wife also needs to do what she needs to do to make the man happy. It's a two-way job. But this is what we're submitting to. we're submitting to that. I don't entertain struggle love, but we're submitting to the sacrifice, to the suffering, to the things that we need to do. Just like a woman is submitting in the context of marriage to a man, she's putting her life on the line when she's having a baby. If we're following the correct structure, as a man, he's putting his life on the line to protect you. If something happens out on the street, who is she calling? If something happens while you're just walking on the street, he has to step up and do what he needs to do. So this is where the key difference is. It's not just the overall thing about love, but it's specific to, in a marital context, what exactly does it mean? And to me, you have to talk about these things. You have to address these things. Because even yesterday, I was speaking to my missus. We also have like good podcast type conversations. She just doesn't want to be on camera, right? And I was saying to her, as a man, what I've been through is trying to understand. And then, like you said, Coach, I realized at a point it was to my detriment. Because although in the moment I felt that way, how she now reasoned with it caused more issues in the relationship down the road. However, if I was to be seen as less understanding and put my foot down, etc., that would still come with its issues. So as a man, we have to decide which way do we want to go. We're going to get issues either way, but which way do you want to go? And for me, I had to realize is, as a leader, you got to put your foot down. You can understand to a degree, but there are certain things it's a no. This is not what we're going to do. This is where we're going to go. Yes, you're probably going to get attacked. You're probably going to get all types of things that will come your way. But ultimately, if you have chosen the right woman, that Koji is saying, whether she needs to sleep on it, whether she needs to think on it, she will come back and say to you, do you know what, babe? You are right. If your missus can't do that, then, excuse me, there's problems. Because, trust me, because she wants a man who can lead, and she feels that she can't even, that her man is not wise enough for her to change her own mind beyond the emotion, there's a problem. And this is what a lot of people experience. And like a lot of women haven't even seen their mothers do be like this with their fathers. A lot of women haven't even seen this in their households. They don't even know what it's like. So the idea of a man putting his foot down, the idea of a man leading her, it's crazy. It's no way. Why can't we do this together, etc.? Listen, there is no successful business, successful anything where two people are moving forward in the same way. There always has to be one who is leading and always has to be one who is being led. Even if they're at the top, that's always the dynamic. If not, they end up going their separate ways. So you have to be careful.
Yeah, and I think this question, if your wife's a Christian and sister's a Christian, shouldn't she love you like Christ does? And so actually, the most intriguing thing is that actually that she does love the husband like Christ does. I'll give an example. There's two forms when it comes to Christ: how we relate to Christ and how Christ related to the Father. So when you look at those dynamics, you'll see how the man and the woman role plays in. So when you read, for instance,